Welcome to another offline video. For this video, we'll be watching Wheatley playing as Tomoe Gozen, a flexible ranged fighter from the Sun's Origin set who can fight in melee, playing against Onyximus on the newly upgraded King Arthur, a fighter from the first ever set Battle of Legends Volume 1 who is now sporting a potential unfaintable 9 value attack. The game is being played at a casual tournament in PlayCafe in Taguig, Manila. King Arthur starts off with a Command the Storm's first action, letting him move all fighters up to 3 spaces. All of a sudden, the entire board is repositioned, and Tomoe finds herself face to face with the King of Britain. King Arthur attacks second action, using his ability to boost it. Tomoe defends with a Flash of Steel, her version of a feint. King Arthur shows Tomoe what a real Flash of Steel looks like, and attacks with an Excalibur boosted with a Noble Sacrifice, going up to a 9. Tomoe is down to half health after that devastating maneuver from King Arthur, who was showed that he has mastered the art of simply drawing better. Tomoe responds with a piercing shot, which Arthur feints. Tomoe then plays her scheme, Lord Kiso's Final Stand, to gain a bit of distance and heal 2 HP back. It's not quite over for Tomoe. If she can take out Merlin early on, she can play a strong fatigue game against Arthur if she wants to do that. Arthur takes the first maneuver of the game, just drawing his hand up again. Tomoe does the same, moving away from the purple and brown space, which is 1 maneuver away from Arthur, and into the single pink space by the side of the Trizone. Merlin maneuvers in and plays an attack, which turns out to be a feint against a worthy opponent. Tomoe doesn't have many good defenses against the potential 4 and 5s Merlin can throw at range, since he's a sidekick, while at the same time Merlin is counting on this fact and is trying to bait out confront any demon or god. A lot of hidden information from this random feint attack. Tomoe maneuvers and plays another copy of Lord Kiso's Final Stand. She's slowly rehabilitating her HP and goes up to 11. Merlin maneuvers in and attacks with a momentous shift, which Tomoe apparently takes. King Arthur has done it again, extending his ability to draw better to making his opponent draw worse. For what it's worth, if Tomoe did have no cards to defend with at that moment, one option she could have done was to move to the solo purple space beside the Trizone. While taking a boosted Arthur attack would definitely be more painful, Arthur would have to invest 3 cards into it instead of just 1, since he'll have to boost into attack. In any case, Tomoe's recovery is stopped in its tracks as she's knocked back down to 6 HP even after using 2 of her heals. Tomoe uses her last copy of Lord Kiso's Final Stand, healing back up to 8. If she hadn't taken that momentous shift earlier on, she'd be in a very good position right now. Merlin moves back to his previous spot, poking at Tomoe with a Swift Strike into a worthy opponent. The Confront discard triggers at attacks 4 and higher, so Swift Strike allows Merlin to bait and jump out. Tomoe moves to the Trizones and attacks with a piercing shot into a Divine Intervention. No damage goes through from the piercing shot itself, however, Arthur uses Divine Intervention's after combat effect to move next to Tomoe. By entering the yellow and pink zone, he leaves Tomoe's zone and takes 1 damage from her ability. It's the first time her ability triggers, since she's been running for most of the game. Arthur backs off and lets Merlin deal with Tomoe from afar. Merlin attacks with an Aid the Chosen One into a Deeds of Valor, effectively just making Deeds a blank 2. Merlin is a real menace in this matchup since Tomoe can't stop any of his effects. For that reason, Tomoe really wants to take Merlin out as soon as possible, even by having to throw a 7 if she's confident Arthur doesn't have Bewilderment in hand. Tomoe begins her counterattack, throwing a 5 against thousands into a regroup. It's probably Arthur's only defense in hand, since Arthur would probably defend with something better if he could help it. For her second action, Tomoe attacks with a fearsome strength into another regroup. While taking Merlin down to 2 HP is great, since Merlin defended with regroup 2 times, Arthur keeps up hand count while Tomoe goes -2 in cards, so Arthur has a bit more leeway to be aggressive again. Tomoe makes a gameplay error and swaps spaces with Merlin even though the spaces aren't adjacent. In any case, Arthur boosts in with a Bewilderment. At the very least, Tomoe knows that it can't possibly be an Excalibur since Arthur hasn't recurred it yet. He then attacks with a Divine Intervention boosted with another Bewilderment into a Deeds of Valor. It only deals 2 damage, but with no more healing for Tomoe, every damage will stick. Arthur moves 1 space away to stop an immediate melee counterattack from Tomoe, though I doubt she'll throw a 7 first action anyways. For her turn, Tomoe just does a double maneuver away to get some space. Arthur plays the Lady of the Lake, reclaiming the Excalibur he used in the first turn. Now, he's threatening to throw another 9, which if Tomoe doesn't defend against with a Deeds of Valor, just leads to an auto kill. Tomoe double maneuvers. Maybe she is looking for a Deeds of Valor, who knows. Arthur responds in kind, double maneuvering around. Merlin steps into the first player's starting space, one maneuver away from throwing an attack to Tomoe. Arthur should probably want to move deeper into the center of the map so he can be closer to Tomoe. Tomoe maneuvers to the white tri-zone and attacks with a skirmish into a regroup. Arthur and Merlin have defended the last 3 attacks with regroup, which could either mean they have nothing better to defend with or they want to attack with everything else. Arthur takes 3 from combat, then takes 1 more for leaving Tomoe's zone from skirmishes after combat effect. Merlin uses the second command to storms this game. If Arthur attacks with a 9 value Excalibur, then Tomoe will need to defend with the Deeds of Valor to survive. Defending with Confront, which Tomoe hasn't used this game, would lead to her dying. Arthur attacks with an 8 value Excalibur into a Deeds of Valor which Tomoe has found. Tomoe's HP is down to 2. Arthur and Merlin have a lot of ways to deal 2 damage at this point, so things are looking pretty rough. Tomoe throws an aptly named Witness My Last Battle, maybe hoping Arthur will just take it and make the ending HP ratios as close as possible. Even taking it wouldn't really kill Arthur, but he defends with a skirmish and only takes 3. Merlin maneuvers into Tomoe's zone and plays a Restless Spirits, dealing the last 2 damage needed to close out the match. You can actually see Wheatley reading the card text, and with all of his one-offs and relative unpopularity, a lot of people don't really know what Arthur does. As a disclaimer, this game isn't really fully indicative of Arthur's newfound strengths. While the Feign Punish is a new, very real, very painful thing he can now suddenly do, Tomoe did take an undefended momentous shift this game. Still, pre-buff Arthur would have only dealt 4 damage instead of 7 at the start of the game, so Tomoe would have still been at 5 HP around the time this game ended. Who knows, maybe she would have done a comeback. Also, Onyximus had a lot of luck in his opening hand, which he's showing on screen now. His 5 opening cards were a Command the Storm, an Excalibur, a Noble Sacrifice, and 2 Feints. Also, I just set up a Buy Me a Coffee page. If you'd like to help support this channel or even make a video request for an offline video, just head on there. Any amount would be appreciated, and the link is in the description below.